ESPN's Adam Schefter, in a recent insider piece for ESPN, dropped 30-plus trade candidates, said a dozen trades could happen. Now, no surprise, these are mostly more notable names that Schefter mentioned, and a lot of them fell into the veteran player looking to get maybe paid in the future, etc. So we'll run through all these different names, spend varying degrees on time on all of them. But if you are excited for the 2025 NFL trade deadline, show it by liking today's video. We will have coverage of it for you here on the channel. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's go to the first two trade candidates. We'll go by position. That's what Schefter did here, citing NFL execs and coaches, players they think could be available. Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson. Neither of these guys seem surprising. We've spent plenty of time with them in the past. The Falcons, if they would eat some money, chance Cousins gets dealt. Wilson seems like the odd man out in New York with Jackson. Like, he looked bad when he had a sub in for Jackson Dart. I don't know how much interest there is. Listen, injury happens, though. Let's move to the running backs. A very obvious name here, Breece Hall, someone that many other teams' fan bases would like to find a way to acquire. I think he's done a pretty good job so far this season. He's averaging 4.7 yards per carry. He's stuck on a bad offense. I do wonder if the Braylon Allen injury is going to reduce the chances of a Hall trade. But at 0-6, the Jets should be sellers and focusing on the future. Alvin Kamara, those Saints running back. Now, of note, for a lot of the different Saints players, they're young guys they believe in. We'll spend some time on them. They want to keep them potentially. The veteran players, guys like Kamara, guys like Cam Jordan, they've said they want to kind of finish their careers in New Orleans. And I don't know how good Alvin Kamara is anymore. Like Kendre Miller at times, look like he's a little bit better. There's pass-catching value. Maybe the offensive line and the game scripts are not good for Alvin Kamara either. Relatively cheap. I think if he was okay moving on, I think if Alvin Kamara said, I love you, New Orleans, I want to go compete for a championship my last year or two, I bet they would do it. I don't know if he's going to say that, though. Jaylen Wright of the Dolphins. Boy, the Dolphins have not drafted well in recent years, and the trading up to acquire Wright is a huge issue. I don't know why they did that, frankly. Like, they had, at the time, they had Devon A-Chain, they had Raheem Mostert, they then also drafted Ollie Gordon. Wright's the odd man out in that backfield. He has juice, doesn't seem to be fitting very well in Miami. If they could find a partner, I bet they would do it. Devin Singletary, who has done some good stuff in the past in his NFL career, is not done very much this season because he's fallen behind Tyrone Tracy. He's fallen behind Cam Scatterbo. The Giants need a running back, need a receiver, not a third back. We're a far cry from nearly 900 yards back in 2023 for him. How many trades happened before the NFL trade deadline? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. How many trades do you think end up happening? There were 3 Saints wide receivers on the list. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Brandin Cooks. Olave, I think, has a pretty high price tag because you're trying to see what Spencer Rattler and maybe Tyler Shuck have to offer. Shaheed is young and cheap. I think it's to be kind of blown away to move on from one of those two players, get a really strong offer. I think they'd love to move Brandin Cooks. I don't know who wants Brandin Cooks, though. He looked kind of washed last year in Dallas, and that's kind of continuing so far in New Orleans. Non-Saints wide receivers to mention here. Jakobi Meyers of the Las Vegas Raiders, who had requested a trade before the season began and has been not that different in terms of his yards per catch. It's just the targets and the receptions seem to have dropped a little bit this campaign. The Raiders are struggling. Maybe just try Jack Besh. Alan Lazard let's call him what he is. He is, if the Steelers can't get a good receiver or a better receiver, he's a Steeler. This is the ultimate, hey, he's the backup target for Pittsburgh when they are unable to find somebody. He missed for undisclosed personal reasons week 6 in London. Feels like when, not if, he's on the move there. Tyler Lockett of the Tennessee Titans is next up here. Lockett also, I don't know if it's because the offense was bad, doesn't seem like he has that much more left in the tank. He might have just lost too many steps too quickly, but Lockett, I think, is available too. Tennessee doesn't want to trade away its good players on offense. They help develop Cam Ward. I don't know if Lockett fits that category, though. Name a player who you want to see traded. I'd say let's keep it semi-realistic, but hey, you know what? It's your guys' show too. Sound off in the comments of today's show. Couple different tight ends here. Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. Isaiah Likely should be the long-term piece there. For a Ravens team that just doesn't seem to have the same level of juice necessarily anymore. And they're banged up. I think that's a factor. If they could, a little bit expensive, I think that's an issue as well for Andrews, but this one on here, being on here does make sense. David Njoku is even more sensible. The Browns are bad. They're sellers. Njoku is slowly getting phased out. Still involved with what the Browns do on offense, don't get me wrong, but I think like big picture, this is Harold Fannon's team at tight end. And, not that Njoku isn't involved, but like, I mean, he's third on the team in yards and second on the team in catches, but Fannin leads the team in both of those. I don't know how much. If they get something for another tight end, they probably make sense. Chico Okonkwo of the Tennessee Titans. And this one I'm very curious to see how it plays out in Tennessee with yet another regime change going on. If you're Tennessee, the rest of this year is all about developing Cam Ward. They do like Gunnar Helm, the tight end they took out of Texas this past year. So if they think he can surpass Okonkwo or replace him fully, maybe it makes some sense. This is kind of more of like a okay, good tight end, though. Couple offensive line trade candidates. Evan Neal is bad, but he's a former high draft pick, and those guys always get a second chance. Feels like free agency, though, next year for him. Kevin Zeitler, I think, could help a team. But, again, if you're Tennessee, do you want to jeopardize Cam Ward's health? That's one of those, kind of like how a team will get traded for an offensive lineman, even though they were bad. You do want to protect the investment. Today's show is made possible by Omaha Steaks. You get an extra $35 off on top of their 50% off site-wide sale by using promo code NFL Daily at checkout. From everyday dinners and effortless entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. They offer unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. The early Black Friday sale is the perfect time to shop for the best deals. For example, you could get the classic favorites assortment, which is already on sale. Take off an extra $35 off. Get all that food, sirloins, pork chops, steak burgers, Frank's, fries, caramel apple tartlets, and more for under $100. That is Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher since 1917. Save big with Omaha Steaks. Visit Omaha Steaks for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off site-wide, or 20% off select favorites during their early Black Friday sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code NFL Daily at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites and $35 extra off by using promo code NFL Daily at checkout. Link in the comments section in the description of the comments of today's show. I want to go through these next three names at the same time because they're all relevant. Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, and Ethan Posick of the Cleveland Browns. I actually would be a little bit surprised if the Browns sold those guys. Not because of, on one, it makes sense, right? Like, veteran players might not be back. The Browns are bad. But they also traded for Cam Robinson, which was let's make sure we don't get our rookie quarterback killed. I think from the Browns' perspective, the 5th-round pick, whatever you might get back for one of those guys versus what you might get as a comp pick for them in free agency, plus keeping your quarterback upright, might not be a one-to-one evaluation. They might be better off keeping them. Shelby Harris, the other Browns trench player we're mentioning here on today's show. I actually could see this one happening. I think he's serviceable, rotational piece up front. They've gotten some good play from guys like Mason Graham and Malik Collins. Maybe Harris is one who's available. Trey Hendrickson, we'll see what the back injury looks like moving forward. The trade for Joe Flacco on one hand screams, we're not selling. But if you keep losing games, they might sell out of like necessity and having no other viable options to really justify keeping him. I think for Hendrickson, like check in again 2 weeks from now. I think if Bengals lose all these next 2 games, at that point, they might just say F it. Keion White, I do think could be had. He's been a bit banged up right now. Also has seemingly fallen out of favor with this new Patriots regime. But we're not that far removed from Keion White being a really good football player. He's not generating pressures. He's not really doing a lot of things that would pop off the screen of like, yeah, this guy's been super impactful. I mean, got 5 tackles this season. He just hasn't been a particularly adept football player. 2 solo tackles. I have not been overly impressed by, but I think last year, 5 sacks in 13 starts. I think there is some untapped potential there. Cam Jordan of the Saints. Household name. Man, he's not the same player he was in his prime. The production has not been quite as good as what I think most people are so accustomed to seeing him do and produce. And I think this is one of those, like, does he want to retire a Saint? If so, he's not going anywhere. If not, you could see him getting shopped. All right, Anthony Jennings, another edge rusher for this Patriots team. It's just not playing all that much. 7 tackles this year, no TFLs, no sacks. He's been a, 26% of the time snap count guy. He's got less than 70 snaps in the season, has mostly been a special teamer, but also, again, new regime. He's been a serviceable piece as like an edge linebacker hybrid. I mean, he had 14 TFLs 2 seasons ago. Maybe someone could maximize him a little bit more than this regime currently is. The Dolphins edge trade targets. Bradley Chubb, Jaylen Phillips. Both guys certainly seem available. Money issues on the Dolphins side with Chubb. They don't say very much by trading him. He has been more productive as a sack getter so far this season. But the pressures belong to Jaylen Phillips. And I think the Jaylen Phillips breakout is going to come at some point soon. This is one that it wouldn't surprise me if the Dolphins actually flipped Jaylen Phillips in particular, and then that guy, the final 10 games of the year, 9 games of the year, puts up 6 or 7 sacks. That actually wouldn't be overly shocking to me. So pick one to trade for. BC for Bradley Chubb, JP for Jaylen Phillips. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Arden Key and Draymond Jones, both of the Titans on this list. Both veteran players. That makes a lot of sense for a team that isn't going anywhere so far this season. Neither guy really popping off the screen. Jones is a little bit bigger. There was a point that Seattle did some weird stuff with him. I thought the Denver version of Draymond Jones that was really more of a 3 technique, I thought was a better player. But both guys are the veteran on a bad team. Fire sale alert, fire sale alert. We will have plenty of videos for you on trades on the NFL trade deadline, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Defensive backfield, Riq Woolen is an obvious name who is pretty clearly available. Fallen out of favor in Seattle, hasn't even been playing as much as of late. 17 tackles, 1 pass breakup this year. Far cry from the 6 interception guy we saw as a first-year player. He has essentially been benched. This guy screams Ram Eagle. Both teams need a corner. Philadelphia desperately needs one. They had massive issues against the Giants. I would not be surprised if and when he gets dealt. Roger McCreary is an interesting name. There have been some really good moments out of McCreary over the course of his NFL career. He's undersized, not very one of the shortest arm lengths in the NFL. That doesn't make him a fit for everybody, but he's feisty as all get out. He's got that undersized dog in him that I think matters for nickel corner types. He's young. I don't know if that means Tennessee will trade him. They might be better off keeping him. But again, potential fire sale team. New England has tried to trade Kyle Duggar already. They have been unable to find a partner. The money involved is the crux of the issue there. he was good in 2023. Sacks, pass breakups, interceptions. Wasn't as good in 2024 and has pretty much been relegated to bench duty, backup duty in New England this year. It just has not gone very well. Final name on the list, Tony Adams of the New York Jets, who has had a couple tackles so far this year, 2 pass breakups. Would free up more playing time for Malachi Moore. I don't really know who the Jets' other safety would be. I guess they could promote like a Nick Needham, who's kind of a nickel, or a Dean Clark, or maybe they can go add somebody else. But Jets trading a veteran does make some sense.